Not a YouTuber, just like making videos. And I recently saw a video published by the Young Turks. And in this video, they were talking about some school teachers and the public school system of Detroit. And these teachers were trying to raise awareness for the dilapidated conditions, of their work environment. And they've been like taking pictures of squalor, and then these photos have been making their rounds on social media. Here, let me show you some of these photos. Yeah. Looking at these pictures, it's pretty demoralizing. It's safe to say that these schools are not habitable even a partial time of the day. And I tell you, when it comes to black people, a lot of news about us, stories about blacks are very depressing. Because, these are predominantly black public schools. Matter of fact, when you think of the word public and inner urban schools, you just automatically think just black, even though there are white public schools too. And you just think of, just bad conditions. The schools are rough, plagued with gangs and drugs and things of that nature. And the environment that they're in seems to be crumbling, and so forth. But, this is interesting. And this is Detroit. This is Michigan. Once again, Michigan. I don't know what's going on in Michigan, but we got a dude on this corner of YouTube from Michigan. But you think he's going to make a fucking video about this? Hell no. I will. But I don't think Detroit is alone when it comes to the ill conditions of public schools. Dominated by black people. Matter of fact, I remember in the 90s they had to shut down some schools in New York because of asbestos. Yeah, so it's serious. I'm like, these are the type of environment, I'm like, these are black kids that are trying to build the foundation for their future, and they gotta live like this. I'm telling you, black people's priorities are all out of whack. Now, you may say that, well, it's the state fault and the money's being mismanaged. Now, you read the title of this video, and then you want to say, okay, what about the church? You know what I'm saying? What does the church have to do with this? But it's about where black people are putting their priorities. You go and you see these schools in their squalid conditions, but I guarantee you, you have these churches, these mega churches, and black communities, that are well kept, that are extravagant, that are, comfortable to be in, and so forth. And that's where I'm getting at here, So I'm like, what are black people putting all our energy in and all our resources in? And I know that churches are privately funded, but they don't have to pay taxes and things of that nature. And if somebody comes to the black community and then see the situation with the public schools, and then see these churches, with all the bells and whistles, you know what I mean? This is, it doesn't seem right. You know what I mean? That, that you got these schools here. These schools, some of these schools are not heated, they don't even have heat in the wintertime. And they don't have air conditioning in the summertime. Some of them are infested with rodents and so forth. I've never been to church that in my adult life, or even my teenage life. When I was a kid, my parents forced me to go to church. But, I haven't been to church much in my teenage and adult life, unless I'm trying to get close to a female, and, I'll go to church with her. But most churches I've been to, in black neighborhoods, I don't see mice running around. You know, they're comfortable, they're clean, you know what I'm saying, they're shiny, you know, and things of that nature. I'm like, who's going to sit inside of a church and the ceiling is leaky? You know what I mean? When there's mice running around on the floor. They're going to be like, man, screw this, man. I'm going to go to the church across the street. Is that church over there? No, the other church across the street. Why? Because in the black community, there are more churches than there are trees. Now, I'm not saying that run-down churches don't exist. You know, I'm pretty sure they do. But I haven't been to any, and I haven't seen any. You know what I'm saying? Most churches in my city, you know what I mean, even in the worst impoverished neighborhoods, seem pretty decent. You know, I don't look at them and they don't have like boarded up windows. I'm like, yeah, there's abandoned churches I've seen, yeah, where nobody goes to, but they're probably abandoned because the pastor went and built him a whole new, better church. You know what I mean? And he could have left that abandoned church to homeless people, but no, for homeless people to live in and turned it into a homeless shelter, but no. You can't expect that kind of modesty from church folk. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I'm getting at here. You know, and when it comes to churches, when it comes to the gospel and the Holy Ghost and Christianity, that is the only realm we can compete with white people. Matter of fact, we can probably even trump them. You know, if we went head to head with white people, church for church, white people would be like, they'll throw in the towel, no contest, you guys win. You know, but when it comes to the realm of education, of businesses, schools, and just the standard of living, white people completely blow us out of the water. It's only in the church, with the church, is when we can compete with white people. You know, church for church, we got them beat. I'm not talking about those big, gigantic Scottish Rite cathedrals. You know, I understand you got these big, historic, you know what I'm saying, churches that look like they came from the dark ages of Europe. You know, and that's in white neighborhoods. I see those and those tabernacles, but I'm talking about just your average church. But even if you throw those castle-like churches in the mix, overall we'll still probably be able to beat them, you know, and so forth. And that's the thing. So black people, you know, when we make these when we want to draw attention to something that's going on in the black community that's not right, we kind of want outside entities, you know, to help us out. But it's obvious we got the money and we got the resources to help our own self out. And these churches are a prime example of that, you know. And the killer part is, you know, when I go to my parents' neighborhood, which they live in a predominantly white neighborhood, you know, in up near Geist, the Oak Landing area. Matter of fact, there's a person who lives in my city. He knows what I'm talking about. I see like this one church in like a 20-mile radius. This one church. And it's like a modest looking church. It doesn't look any better than your typical church you see in a black neighborhood. But, you know, I look around this church and I'm seeing nice, manicured, suburban subdivision. I go to a black community, I'll see some sort of big, gargantuan mega church. You know, the ones you go in where they'll probably have the preacher on a Jumbotron screen or whatever. You know, I look across the street, you see the projects overrun by single black mothers and kids blowing their brains out. So please tell me what's wrong with this picture. You know, I'm like, the black community, I'm like, you can't fucking back out of your driveway in the black community without bumping into a church. You know, it's pretty excessive. And then there's this one church in my city that's in a really bad area. And this church is surrounded by barbed wire fence. Jeez Louise, barbed wire, serious? Don't these people have faith in God and say, hey, we don't need to put a fence up? You know what I'm saying? God will protect this house. But maybe not. But that's all I want to say. Thanks for watching and never stop learning.